It's a weekend. What's going on with crypto, with the missile strikes happening in the Middle East? Is this terrible for our bags? Should we be shorting or longing? Let's find out now. So, happening last night, and obviously the actual stock exchange, SPX and whatnot, the NASDAQ, these are all closed. And so the markets haven't responded. But Iranian hypersonic missiles striking Tel Aviv and Israel. And the rumor has it 2,000 missiles what they plan to actually send. Now, early on, many moons ago, the S&P 500 really would react hugely to massive events, right? And now they're getting smaller and smaller. It's weekend right now, so we have to see what's going to happen. But I'm not expecting that we have a major push down. And here's another one: a historical look at the S&P 500 reaction to major geopolitical events. With the Israel-Hamas war, it says none. I think there was like some sort of small thing, but I'm seeing right now on Twitter and whatnot, like people calling for like gas prices to go sky high and everything's going to implode. I just don't think that's what's going to happen, to be perfectly honest. Humans have always had conflict. This is just getting a whole lot of attention right now. And unfortunately, there's conflict. That's just the unfortunate thing. So we're still locked in on the basis that we could go down a little bit more. This would probably be my buying opportunity right now. But we're hopeful and thinking that M2 is going to push us back up. And Bitcoin's been really important here. Now, volume has been decreasing. There's not a massive amount of volume right now. We did have more of a green candle, though, just recently on the 1 day, but now we're currently down a little bit lower. We'll have to see how that happens. In general, though, what we're looking at is if you do want to place some bids, Bitcoin, you can follow the fib. Nothing's financial advice, but as an example, currently holding the 0.5. But if you want to go and place a bid, a spot bid, or even if you want a long limit bid, if you want to, at 104,300, 102, you come all the way down to here as well if you want to. Not that I expect that to happen, but if it doesn't fill and if it becomes invalidated, you can change it. If you zoom out even further, then if we break this, we'll go down lower for sure. But at present, like we shouldn't be talking about here. Just if you want to put in stink bids, you can put them down significantly lower. But I'm not expecting this conflict to go crazy. We don't have all the data yet, and time's going to change. And if things inject more news into mainstream media, which affects the markets come Monday, if US actually starts to go there. But Trump is not the type of president that really likes to inject war things into war. There is a partnership and an ally. They are allies, so there will be some sort of military support. But I do not expect a full-on go-to-war battle. That's just my expectation. Trump wants his markets to do better. The market cap dominance of USDT, it rocketed up and now it started to break down, which means price is coming up again. We want to see this come down further and further. And if this comes down further and further, prices will start to get higher with our Bitcoins, Sols, ETH, and whatnot. However, at the same time, for us to start to break out, what we're probably going to see is the Bitcoin and USDT and USDC dominance actually increase and then hit this and then bounce off. And then that could be our altcoin rally. So if this starts to look good and you're like, oh, it's altcoin, it's no altcoin season's coming. This is what happened in the previous cycle. Bam. And then it dropped. It hit this 76%. This is all these assets. And it dropped all the way down to like 40%, like 42% or something, maybe around that. So it basically halved. Our fair and greed is at 63. The more fearful we get, the more red it is, typically when you want to buy. And exchange volume has been increased. This is still a day behind, but this is a higher low, which is good to see. Bitcoin ETFs, money's flowing in with this dip as well. We're not seeing outflows for quite a few days. So yesterday was pretty good. And we've got this as a bit of a chart. If we get a whole lot of red, that's obviously very bearish. But I'm starting to think that we're going to start to have a big green section. Now, one reason why things are kind of boring and I'm getting less views, people not really putting as much time, the trenches aren't as fun, is because of this. The actual euphoria around Bitcoin and crypto is low. I'm still expecting this. I'm expecting this for sure. I'm not a perma bull. I'm certainly a believer of cycles, but I am expecting that we're going to go a little bit crazy to be perfectly honest. But interest rates need to come on down, and it's really hard that Trump's trying to make that happen. It's not super easy. In general, though, if we have a look at Katoshi settings, this is working perfectly. We are now, at least in the 2-hour, we're in a downtrend. Probably on the daily, we're on a downtrend as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you short it, because unless you get the entry right at the same time, it doesn't necessarily work out for you. However, you can see we're still on the daily, we're still up with Bitcoin. Let's go through a very quick fire of a little bit of charts and different levels, because I don't want to go on bull posts everything. Solana's doing a whole lot of good stuff. There's club wars on, which we'll talk about in other videos. I want to do more tutorials and stuff. But like, where should we be buying Sol if we're keen on Sol? Which we are. Sol and other tokens as well. So your fib levels, they work really well. So you can go and set your limit orders with whatever you want to earn points on. Drift probably has some sort of point system. You can set them with dupe, maybe get some more dupe last year, even though dupe's not next year, even though dupe's not performing well. Hyperliquid, whatever. Just probably don't go centralized, because you're not going to be rewarded for your efforts. So here, we kind of ignore this one. We want to set some at 0.5, 141. It touched down there and it came off. But setting some 141 either just above, just below, or on it. Same here and same here. Now, I'm not expecting that we go down here at all, but you can set it down here and then just wait. SUI as well, it's currently holding the 0.5. So if things kind of start to go a little bit more bullish come Monday, then this will probably bounce off if Bitcoin goes up as well. So you can even buy some here, and you can set some at these levels as well. And what I've done, just for full transparency, opened a long here, and I've got a limit order here, long, and a limit order here in perps. Hyperliquid, we've been speaking about it like in detail for a week, but we've been mentioning it for a couple of weeks. It is the fastest horse, and it touched at 0.5 fib from the last run up, and it just bounced off. It just went straight up. Maybe it briefly touched this, and then off it went. So it's not its all-time high, but it's pretty damn close. But once again, you can still set some buy orders down here. They may not be filled though. ETH, it came down here, and like definitely a nice time to buy, and it's already starting to move up. Here it has a bit of resistance here, but this is where you can set some. I'm pretty confident we're going to go over 0.5 pretty damn soon, to be perfectly honest. Bonk, because people have asked about it. Bonk is not getting a whole lot of attention, not a whole lot of volume, but it could be breaking out, so we're putting it on our watch list now. We have the same system here. You can set a buy order down here. You can set some down at this really low band of support if you want to, and you can buy a little bit here. It's not necessarily time to be actually entering leverage at present, because I don't think Bonk's going to get a whole lot of attention like immediately. But you can see it's going in between these two fib levels a couple of times already. So buying here, setting some here, we're going to come up, taking some profits. Cool. But in general, if you take it from like the all-time high, we don't want to wait for it to reclaim 0.5 necessarily before we're then interested. That's why I showed you the chart just before. Pingu as well is another token that people are interested in. Obviously, this was some fun, and I was buying here, and it just didn't. The cycle went very differently. But we have the same setup here. We've been breaking down. We've come off the 0.68, straight through the 0.5, touched up and coming down. You can trade these ranges. It looks decent. Set some orders here. Buy a little bit of spot. Buy some. It comes up. You have a hold a moon bag, but still take some profits. This is very indicative that we've got a long way to go before we get bullish, but Luca, I'm sure he's going to deliver, to be perfectly honest. Now, one reason why Hyperliquid and Fartcoin are doing well is they have a whole lot of CT narrative. This one here, this is a Hyperliquid whale, added another 8 million to his TWAP orders for Fartcoin. Put his 37 portfolio into Hyperliquid and Fartcoin. These are the fastest horses, Fartcoin and Hyperliquid. The issue is the leverage side of it makes it a little bit more scary. You can do it spot, of course. We're hoping like crazy that we're going to see the Solana ETFs really soon. A lot of people are bullish on a kind of governmental level for Solana, and we're kind of aligned with the right people, and this is good for the whole industry, especially if we can get staking with it. That'd be fantastic. And then Walmart and Amazon are exploring launching their own stablecoins, which is good for them, but it's not good for the Visas and MasterCards and PayPals of the world, which is completely fine by us, because They charge you so much money. This is outdated, antiquated technology that's essentially going to be rendered obsolete in the near future. And Shopify integrating USDC, I think they did it on Ethereum, I believe. And this is going to save merchants millions and then hundreds of millions of dollars. So USDC is going to absolutely do well. And other stablecoins potentially. Now we've got a little bit of news in terms of the WCT claim criteria for Jupiter DAO. I will not be getting all this because I've actually randomly not voted, sometimes by mistake, just not paying attention to the time. If you have the Cats of Culture and Cadet role, you'll be eligible. There's a whole lot of FUD on this, and I'm not bullish on this WCT token. I've mentioned before, open this up, this goes to OKX Dex. It was like $1, and when that was happening, I was just like, okay, if you have some, I would just be selling it, to be honest. There's nothing amazing about it. I don't know why it exists. So down it goes, but that's not really the point of this. The point is you could be eligible to claim, but not everybody is. And this person here, he's starting to have some good viewpoints. He's a dupe bull, but he's critical of things and constructively critical of things. So Mike the Gambler may be worth following from what I've seen thus far. I'm not here to talk about Dupe, the token, because it's not doing very, very well. But the idea of partnering is kind of like what maybe Virtuals is doing, where you lock your Virtuals or something like that, and you end up getting all these benefits. Like the Humor pre-sale, as an example, is a good benefit. WCT is not a good benefit because the criteria on it was a bit silly. I don't really mind. To be honest, if I get any, I'm just going to JEET it until I see a valuable proposition of why it needs a token. Meteor is making some changes, such as sniper taxes applied to large buys. And this could be really good because it's still like the trenches have been destroyed by the people that are just max extracting, and they're not letting things run. They're just in it to max extract. There's been some people that want me to talk about useless. I missed it. Now it's kind of done its thing. It could go higher. Use the fib tool to work out your entries. I've done like live stream videos on trenches and how to use the fib. Check it out. Meteor is trying to do things to make the trenches good. Unfortunately, well, this is good news. Bybit app now lets you trade gold, stock, and forexes directly on Bybit app. Unfortunately, they're basically the first to ship something that's usable, as opposed to what we haven't got, like a decentralized system yet. I know people are working on it, but they're slower to ship, and Bybit's come out first. And your final thing is, if you're using one of these Kudos rings, which I've kind of recently got, I'm quite bullish on the Pulse thing, which is maybe a better system than a ring, but it's not live yet. This is. Then second sneak peek on season 2 airdrop eligibility for ring holders only. This may be something that you want to look into. I have no idea how the token's going. I haven't even actually claimed my airdrop. I don't think I'm going to have much. I don't think it's going to be doing terribly well, but I do believe that data is very, very important. Your health data, if you can monetize it, it will be worthwhile. So that's basically it for today, for this weekend. I might chime in on Twitter tomorrow. It's certainly a touch grass weekend, but we have to be mindful of where the markets would go. I'm not expecting them to dip. Having said that, if you have positions in Camino, make sure you're not going to be liquidated. That's an important thing. And also be very, very careful of leveraging in these times without stop losses and things like that. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next video. Cheers.